Today is a WRAL weather alert day. I'm timing out when storms turn severe and how long they could last throughout the night.
Then, classroom crackdown. Lawmakers want tougher background checks for new teachers, and some parents say it's long overdue. Then, student athletes celebrate a big win by getting paid to play their college sports. But schools aren't clear where the money is coming from, and it may be you. I wouldn't blame you if you were wondering, why exactly is today a WRAL weather alert day? Well, it's because of what's headed our way tonight. Thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty. You can see on the radar, here it comes. It's coming from our west right now, and it's going to bring some thunder and lightning to our area overnight. Kat, this is the sort of thing that we do see often in the summer months, and you got some fancy graphics tonight to help us understand.
I'll help walk you through it. Today's a little bit different, and that's because we've got a cold front on the way to our west. Usually it's afternoon and evening storms. It's actually going to be tonight that we see these storms move in from Tennessee and the mountains. There are a couple of storms just south of Fayetteville. At this point, it looks like those may just clip southern Sampson County, and we've got one small shower in Franklin County, but nothing that's much of a big deal yet at this point. The time frame through about 5 a.m. would be our best shot at storms. The main concern at 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Not a widespread threat there, but a couple of storms could have strong winds, and it may be a loud night for some. Just keep in mind, if you have children or pets that are scared of thunderstorms, we could hear some thunder overnight. It's a level 2 threat in our southern counties, a level 1 threat in our northern counties for these storms. Our rain chances peak at about 60%, and that actually comes just after midnight tonight. Tomorrow, that front hangs out nearby a bit longer, and I'll walk you through tomorrow's different storm timeline coming up.
We can't be too careful with our children. That's the quote of the day tonight, coming from North Carolina State House Representative Neil Jackson of Moore County. He's referring to a proposal now to give the state a larger role in performing background checks on teachers. Now, right now, local school districts do this. They're in charge of it as well. But a new bill would give the state some responsibility, putting more eyes on the people who teach our kids. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie has the story.
Under a new bill in the state house, teachers would undergo an added layer of scrutiny. They'd have to pay for a criminal background check as part of their application for a teaching license. The proposed state criminal background check would be in addition to checks already conducted by local school districts. Alan Wilson isn't sure how much safer that would make his middle school daughter.
The background check one day wouldn't be good for the next day, I think, sometimes. It's just like anything else. They could be a model citizen until.
But Anna Beatty thinks it's a good idea.
There's just a lot of problems in schools, and safety should be the #1 concern.
State House Republicans want to require the Department of Public Instruction to review a criminal background check for every applicant for a teaching license. DPI would have to decide if the applicant poses a threat to the physical safety of students or other employees, lacks the integrity or honesty to be a professional educator, or otherwise fails to meet the standards for ethics and moral character in the state's Code of Conduct for Educators. Sponsor Representative Neil Jackson says the state check will make the process more consistent. We can't be too careful with our children, he said. The bill ensures only those with integrity hold these roles, preserving public confidence. A spokesman for DPI said the department did not request this bill and doesn't have a position on it, but he said it could lead to more delays in the teacher licensing process. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, Raleigh.
All right, let's catch you up on some of the big headlines. These are the 5 things you should know right now. The family of Tyrone Mason says that they will sue the Raleigh Police Department. Mason died after crashing his car during a chase with a state trooper. Raleigh police responded to that scene, and she claims that the police officer who was there withheld information. Mason's mother already filed a lawsuit against the trooper who was there. The DA investigated and chose not to file charges against that trooper. A 1-year-old child is in serious condition after being hit by a car in Johnston County. Sky 5 over that scene around noon today. This is at a home on Old Moore Road in Selma. It's quite tragic, actually. Deputies say the grandfather actually hit the child while backing out. The child went to Wake Med for treatment. Right now, Fayetteville City Council is meeting to discuss the city's new youth curfew. It applies to anyone age 16 and under between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. Council wants to figure out exactly how the city should reinforce the rules here, working with police to make it happen. WRAL will bring you some updates during the late news at 10 and 11 about what they come up with. A quick progress report for you now on the road work on Blue Ridge Road in Raleigh. Crews finished underground utility work and installing some new signals. But right now they're building a new path along Blue Ridge Road just north of Trinity Road. The work never ends. They're also building a pedestrian bridge over Wade Avenue and I-440. A beloved Durham produce market has closed. Perkins Orchard posted that they are closing indefinitely, but it may not be permanent. Their website says back open soon. How soon will that be? We don't know. The owner says that they are taking some steps to step back to focus on mental and physical well-being and to assess their business model. The produce market on Barbie Road has been in business for more than 50 years. So pretty soon, universities will have to start paying their student athletes big time money in some cases. The NCAA approved a $2.8 billion settlement late Friday night, and that money will pay current athletes and former athletes dating back to 2016. It could mean higher ticket prices, though, cutting teams even, and, well, of course, more lawsuits. To make sense of it all, I spoke to WRAL investigative sports reporter Brian Murphy and took a trip to Murph's Turf. Murph, how are we doing? Man, big ruling here. So what does this mean for those players? Are people going to start getting checks in the mail?
Yeah, former players can expect to see checks in the mail. It depends on what sport you played, how much you played, how big of a university you attended. But yeah, there is a formula, and all these former athletes are going to get something out of this settlement.
I find these cutoffs interesting. It goes back to 2016. Why not 2015, 2014? You know, college sports, college football, basketball, those were making big money then.
Yeah, I believe it had something to do with the statute of limitations, but also that was the suit that was filed. So we've seen the 1983 NC State basketball team filing a lawsuit. We've seen other players who had star turns in the 90s filing lawsuits. I don't think those lawsuits are going to go away.
So former athletes are going to be getting checks, and now future athletes also have this, there's this new standard where they could be getting paid a certain amount of money as well from the school. And the schools have already been kind of buckling down and complaining a bit about the NIL stuff and how they're going to get this money. This is just another layer on top of it. How are they going to afford it?
Yeah, this opens the door to direct revenue sharing with college athletes, and all the schools in the big conferences can spend up to $20.5 million. So you've seen athletic departments really try to figure out, how can we find an additional $20.5 million? Traditionally, athletic departments are nonprofits. They spend whatever comes in, and they've spent it lavishly on coaches' salaries, on facilities. Now they're going to have to spend it directly on players.
And the competition's not going to go away. You're still going to need the best players, the best coaches, the best facilities. So where are they going to get that? Naming rights from stadiums? Are they going to start coming toward fans? Is it going to start going toward the fees that students pay when they go to these schools?
All of the above. I mean, they are looking in every direction, and so I think you're going to see increased ticket prices or a surcharge placed on tickets. You're going to see additional sponsorships, naming rights for stadiums, but also maybe jersey patches. I mean, all the things you associate with pro sports, all the ways that you can find more revenue, they are going to be tapping into all of that, and it's likely going to rest on fans as it does in every other sport.
And lastly, the big selling point as these conferences and these programs exploded and made more and more money was, hey, we lift up all of the other programs here, the ones that might not get the same type of fanfare. But now these teams don't have money falling out of their pockets anymore. Does that put some of those smaller programs in jeopardy at our schools?
Yeah, as it was explained to me, college football and men's college basketball have footed the bill for these entire athletic departments. Well, now suddenly you've got to pay the players. It's a pro sport. You've got to pay those players. So there's not extra money to lift up volleyball and softball and some of these other sports that have become big. They're going to rely on sponsorships. They're going to rely on endowments. They're going to rely on giving from fans of those specific sports. And we may see some of them go away. Eventually, that's going to have an impact on Olympic sports. It's going to have an impact on the number of high school kids that want to play those sports. There's a big trickle-down effect from cutting sports at the college level.
We've been saying how things are going to change quickly, and boy, they're changing quickly.
It's here. July 1st, these are now pro sports in every conceivable way.
Thanks, Murph.
Thank you.
We want to quickly get you to some breaking news right now in Raleigh, a reported shooting on Caldera Lane. We have Heidi Kirk there. She just arrived at the scene moments ago. Heidi, give us an idea of what's going on. What can you tell us?
Well, Dan, we got here just within the last 5 minutes or so. I'm going to walk slightly this way and show you how close we can get to this scene. If you take a look back this way, you're going to see we've had several Raleigh police officers back this way investigating what people who are nearby say was a shooting. We've heard from multiple people who said that they heard about 1 or 2 shots ring out. We're still working to learn exactly what's happening here, but that investigation is ongoing. We're going to continue asking questions here on the scene and bring you live updates as they come into our newsroom.
All right, Heidi,
Kirk,
thank you.
WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Heidi, thank you so much. We'll continue to check in with Heidi. Meantime, more to come here at 7 o'clock. The in-depth mailbag is back, everybody. Tonight, we got a lot to talk about. A dog weighs in on our dog segment. A handful of you recommend an app to use at your next grocery store trip. And there's a theory from a viewer about why tornadoes have recently popped up in eastern North Carolina. All of that right after the break. The Monday mailbag is back, everybody. I know it's been a while, and a lot of you have sent things into the inbox, emails for us to look over the past few weeks. Let's start with an email I got about our dogs segment last week. There were so many stories about dogs in the news, we had a little fun with it. We even created a new, let's just call it totally ridiculous, little open woof woof of the little dog that helped us introduce the whole thing. Marion sent me a video of her dog, Barley, who really enjoyed the segment, glued to the screen, can't get enough of it. Barley was locked in until a very specific moment when my face came on screen, and then he just left. What's the deal, Barley? Was it my suit? My hair? What did I do? I want you to give me your viewership back. Either way, thank you for the email. That was really cute. Thank you for sharing it. I did hear from quite a few of you about our story on ultra-processed foods. And we talked about a lawsuit that's claiming that the food companies are using the same playbook as big tobacco to get these foods into your hands. We also talked about why processed foods are a problem in the first place. And you can find the full story on WRAL.com. But I got this email from a guy calling himself Rooster Rob. He wrote, recently a friend steered me toward an app, Yuka, that scans the barcode on many food products and provides a rating on the product. When on shopping trips, I scan just about everything I consider purchasing. So it just so happens that I also have this app and use this app all the time. Just the other day, I scanned like 2 or 3 different packages of bacon. They were all 0 out of 100. I kept checking. I needed to find something that was healthy with bacon. Jif peanut butter, got a 2. I did find some chunky peanut butter from Teddy's that got a 69. Not bad. I could not find a barbecue sauce that gets over a 60. The only one that I could find was an Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce at 51. So say what you will about barbecue sauce, which one is better, but apparently the vinegar-based stuff here in the Carolinas is just better for you. The Yuka app is super popular. It has over 70 million users, in part because it's free. And in another part, because it's super easy to use and honestly pretty fun to use when you're at the grocery store. You open the app, you scan barcodes of the food on your phone, and the app then gives the food a grade from 0 to 100, from bad to excellent. If you scan something with a low grade, it will make some recommendations for something similar with a good grade. And here's how that works. The company says 2/3 of the grade is based off something called the Nutri-Score. It's a nutrition label used in 7 European countries looking at sugar, sodium, fat, calories, protein, fiber, as well as fruit and vegetable content. The International Agency for Research of Cancer supports this method. The last third of Yuka's grades looks at the presence of additives. So everything from preservatives to food coloring to flavor enhancers, all that sort of stuff. And there are dozens of them. Some are higher risk than others. Food with higher risk additives can only get a maximum Yuka score of 49. And when you scan a food, Yuka will tell you which additives are inside that food. It's pretty useful, but there are some criticisms. A nutritionist with the World Cancer Research Fund wrote that just because a food contains certain additives, it doesn't necessarily mean the product is bad for you. We should pay more attention to the amount of saturated fat, sugar, and salt it contains. It's our overall diet and lifestyle that by far has the biggest impact on our health. In other words, Yuka is a helpful tool. It shouldn't be, though, your only source of information when it comes to deciding what you and your family eats. Hey, let's move on to an email we got about our long-form piece that we did on tornadoes in eastern eastern North Carolina. You can find the full story on the WRAL YouTube page. We heard from tons of people, though, still recovering from these storms, how warmer temperatures, we talked about how they are partially to blame for this increase in the severity of these storms, and why this ultimately means home insurance rates will likely keep going up for everyone because of all of it. Another big part of that story, though, we don't have enough information, frankly, to know if those tornadoes are just bad luck or part of a larger trend or what. We have seen hyper-local outbreaks before in various areas, and a viewer named Charles has an interesting theory. He wrote, "Since the mid-90s, I've taken an interest in weather. I drove into the 2011 tornado, and that is true. He did. Charles sent me these pictures that he took during the storm in April of 2011 in North Raleigh. It was one of 30 tornadoes that touched down statewide in a single day, which was a North Carolina record. And those pictures are terrifying." So here's his theory. Charles proposed that the Piedmont Trough has had my attention, he says. That's why I think I-95 to the Warsaw area gets storms that create tornadoes. It's interesting, but is he right? We brought that idea to meteorologist Kat Campbell. And it turns out the Piedmont Trough is a real thing. It's a weather effect unique to us here in North Carolina, forming in the summertime between June and August. It's similar to a sea breeze, kind of blowing in that warm air from the coast, forming a trough of warmth. Our soil type heats up differently and helps to enhance the small divide in the air masses. This graphic here shows where that trough has taken form in the past, and you can see right there in eastern North Carolina. This effect does create the ingredients for more thunderstorms, but the National Weather Service office in Wilmington says that's about as far as it goes. They write, "These phenomena do not in themselves determine the severity of storms." So is the Piedmont Trough a real thing? Yes. Is it the reason behind the tornado outbreaks in eastern North Carolina? It's unlikely. Again, we still can't be sure that there is a larger explanation for this outside of warmer temperatures across the board and possibly some really bad luck at times. All right, how's that for a Monday mailbag segment? Any other questions about these topics or something else that you would like to see us dig into here at 7 o'clock? Send me an email, dan@WRAL.com. Tell me what's on your mind, and we will go in depth. Kat?
I'm tracking some storms right now just to our south. These are closer to Lumberton, just south of Cumberland County. If you live in Fayetteville, you may be hearing the thunder and lightning. And this complex of storms is really just going to likely clip the southern part of Sampson County, staying mainly south of Clinton and south of Fayetteville, just clipping the southern part of our area. I do want to point out we've got one small shower that we are tracking in Warren County right now. No lightning with that at the moment. And in our southern counties, we've got all the thunder and lightning just to our south, but again, it's mainly southern Sampson County that will see the effects of that. Nothing imminent around the triangle on the radar. It's hot though. You may be hoping for a shower to cool down. 88 at RDU right now, 84 in Cary, Apex, 83 in Holly Springs, 80 in Chapel Hill, and 87 in Clayton. It's a nice day out there at Carr Lake. You can see a lot of clouds have filled in, but it was a good day to be by the water. I want to remind you that we are under a level 2 out of 5 severe weather threat for tonight. This means some scattered severe storms are possible. The main concern would be strong winds. These should be pretty short-lived and not widespread, the severe storms at least for tonight. The rain is starting to move into the mountains. This is going to be the main complex that we watch for later tonight. Here are those storms in the southern part of our state just south of Fayetteville. Those will continue to progress a bit closer to the coast this evening and tonight. So by 9 o'clock, you can still see some of the showers and storms in southern Sampson County, but the main event for us is going to get here closer to midnight. It'll be scattered storms overnight, and the bulk of the rain should be out of here by the morning commute tomorrow. Just a small chance of a lingering shower for the morning. Tomorrow, hour by hour during the afternoon, we've got about a 30% chance of storms. It's more of your typical summertime afternoon and evening storms tomorrow. By 6, 7 o'clock, that chance goes up to about 60%. Then we get a little bit of a break here. By Wednesday and Thursday, rain chances drop to 20%. Friday and Saturday, we're going to see storm chances go back up. Just remember, we're getting to that time of year where pretty much every day on the 7-day forecast is going to have a lightning bolt on it because a few cities are going to see storms in our area pretty much every day. The earlier you do things outside, the drier you are likely to be most days during the summer months. Wednesday and Thursday, rain chances drop to 20%. That's about as good as you're going to get during the month of June. By the weekend, it's hotter. It's more humid this weekend, so that's what's going to make it feel hotter. And we do have a chance for some scattered storms returning. If you do have outdoor plans on Father's Day, remember the earlier the better, but make sure you've got lots of water. It'll be awfully warm and humid out there.
Good advice. Thank you, Kat. A young man in Apex saved his father's life, acting fast when his dad needed him the most. Your one last thing right after the break. One last thing we want to mention tonight. A boy in Apex saved his father's life, and the city fire department is recognizing him for how he did it. So Joel Daniels called 911 in February when his dad was experiencing a serious medical episode. The 911 operator said that Joel spoke with a steady voice. He communicated clearly. He gave important details, and in the end, first responders revived his father. They saved him. The Apex Fire Department calls him a true community hero, and boy, oh boy, we're proud of him. Well done. Nice job. Thanks for making WRAL your choice for local news. Our next newscast is at 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and at 11 right here on WRAL. See you then.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.